I would do the flip and go back and read it. But
Well, that's
I
the
saw
thing,
the
though. It's like,
Billboard down here, and it's placed here during rush hour because all two interstates to the west flow into one going north and south. So you are stopped. You creep along for a very long time. So 8 seconds is very well placed. And you have to remember that's not the only thing on the Flipboard. You know,
yeah,
people have, there might be 20, 30, advertisements that it goes through until it comes back around again. It doesn't happen every 5 or 4 times. So anyway, Betty, shut the hell up. Go go get all those big ass groups that goes into thousands and you put up the permanent billboards.
yeah,
You don't tell
probably
us
won't
what
do
to
that.
do. You don't talk about the
She
blip. You
probably
don't
won't do that,
she
right?
only she's
Right.
only bitching because she hates Clue, number one.
Right.
And Barbecue Lady
Oof.
used to work with Tony and then left. So that is a huge,
Yeah, well,
hate.
she hates me. She
I'm not a
hates you. She hates barbecue lady.
I'm not a big
Yes.
fan of Clue either, but like if she's doing this, I think that it's great. And like when you crowdfund, you have to be ready for questions. But there's a big but there. Are people asking questions respectfully? Because there's an example that I'd like to use. Even though Queen Bee's crowdfund is in no way, you couldn't compare the two because she can't show all her dollar amounts for filings because that would be against her best interest, right? And this is a totally different, like, whole different thing, right? But like Savage and Val example, like we were just asking questions and she attacked
No.
us. No, you didn't ask one question. You didn't ask a single fucking question. You called her a scammer. You implied that she is fucking stealing from the community, is what you did. And then you packaged it and presented it like you're asking questions.
Tell you something. I was gonna wait. Let me tell you something. If I showed you online the bank account here, you would lose your goddamn mind. I don't have to fucking steal from people, but what I do find funny is the fact that you assume I have to steal from people. Is that because you have a guilty motherfucking conscience?
By the end of 32 and a half hours, we had raised $22,206 for billboards.
More than 6 months since he disappeared, still no sign of Sebastian Rogers. Now TikTokers are raising money to put up billboards of the missing Sumner County teenager nationwide. Good evening, everybody. I'm Scott Couch. Megan has the night off. Billboards aren't just the latest effort to find out what happened to this 15-year-old with autism. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller's now live at the Sumner County Sheriff's Department in Gallatin with how social media creators are keeping this search in the spotlight.
Yes, well, the two TikTokers said that they had no intention on making this a big social media push to raise money. But one of the TikTokers was going live and saying how they were going to match the other's donation. And then other people chimed in saying they wanted to donate. And next thing you know, they were raising more than $20,000 for Sebastian Rogers. They're known as Barbecue Lady and Tammy on TikTok. The two decided to help fund a billboard for missing Sumner County teen Sebastian Rogers. The autistic boy vanished without a trace on February 25th. But when the Barbecue Lady went live, their effort got a lot more attention than they were both expecting.
It's like a snowball effect. It was like all these large creators started coming in, and then their following started coming in, and then it just kept going from there.
It reached so many people across the nation that TikTok user Emily Crawford from Seattle saw it and matched the donations she received.
Missing kids holds a very special place in my heart because they need advocacy, and it falls on our shoulders to promote that.
And now Barbecue Lady says they've selected 104 billboards across the country that will look like this.
We did hand select these based on getting as much exposure in the most heavily trafficked patterns along the interstates.
That Barbecue Lady explains has the ability to make millions of impressions. To raise awareness about what Sebastian Rogers looks like, the fact that he is still missing, and that the FBI is offering a $50,000 reward.
Somewhere, somebody has seen him and will maybe call that. And now that the FBI has actually added an award, a reward for that, then we're hoping that also will trigger someone to make that phone call.
In order to finally get some answers.
I'm gonna lie, it doesn't make sense to do it when, again, at this point, it's clear there are lawyers involved. They're fake lawyers. Go with whatever you want to say. But the fake lawyers are sending you very real paperwork, and it's a lot longer than a sentence about Sebastian. It outlines the crimes alleged, and maybe you can discuss them. Maybe you can discuss the billboards. Maybe you can discuss the finances. Maybe you can discuss the tip lines. Maybe you can discuss those things as well. And then when you add all of that up, it makes sense as to why you were asked to stop, right? And this is out to the creator. The creator knows who I am addressing. It's not stop spreading awareness.
You know, they raise a bunch of money. They raise a bunch of money for billboards in Sebastian's name so that his face can be plastered all over the place. We want to make sure that Sebastian's face is plastered all over the place. Now, this is something that they decided to do many months after Sebastian had been missing. Not sure the reasoning that they decided to start raising money for billboards or why it came so late in the game. But there was a lot of allegations being made that they were just doing it because it was like a tit for tat. Like basically what had happened was the green team was like, well, we're doing this and that and the other, and we're the only ones doing anything. We're the only ones looking. We're the only ones who care. We're the only ones putting any effort out. And I think there was a lot of pressure being put on the Proudfoots and the Proudfoots team to do something to look for this child, put some effort somewhere. And I think that because there was so much pressure put on the Proudfoot team finally decided to show up. And they did. They showed up and they showed out in a real big way. $23,000 for Billboards. But with all the animosity on both sides and all the fighting on both sides, there was a lot of question about whether or not the money and the funds being raised were for legitimate purposes. And there was a lot of pressure being put on Barbecue and Tammy to show receipts. Well, they were showing receipts. They were showing receipts on the regular. But then all of a sudden it just stopped. And they weren't showing the receipts anymore, and they weren't posting the receipts anymore, and it stopped at about $8,000 from the last that I had seen. There might be more receipts out there, but the last that I had seen was $8,000. Well, they had raised $23,000, so I'm wondering where the other $14,000, $15,000 went. It's a huge red flag to me. Now, keep in mind, this girl's got a lawsuit after her. She's being accused of being in an enterprise, of basically raising false funds on the name of a missing child, of putting out misinformation, of doing this, that, and the other. So I'm going to have my guard up and I have my eye open. And if I see anything red flag, I'm not going to be associated with that. I was so confused because I thought, as a true crime creator within the true crime community, that the people that were Barbecue's friends that were following me because they actually liked me and liked my content and made their own decisions about whether or not they wanted to like and support me. I didn't realize that they were doing it because Barbecue told them to. I didn't realize that was the way things worked with Barbecue and her friends. I was very naive. I had no idea. Silly me. I made a mistake. I had no idea. I didn't know that Barbecue tells her friends what to do and they all listen and just do whatever she says, and they support or don't support whoever she tells them to support. And if she says block them, they block them.
But at the end of the day, it's not okay if you want to talk about that side. Like, make it make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. The step grandma. Oh, what I was going to say actually is the grandmother finally post on Facebook talking about grifting, that Seth is making money. I am sorry. If you really, really think that he's made more money than the channels that they're breaking bread with and sitting in court with, and Chris, I remember in the beginning, said specifically that he wants people to give money if they're talking about Sebastian. Now when I look and reflect upon it, the things that I used to think might have been hopeful, right? They might have been good signs that we would find Sebastian okay. Maybe he's out in the woods. Now, when I think about it, I almost feel like they could just be no different than a lot of the people that comment, have been on Facebook, you know, have been in chats. It seems like the same distractive stuff. And I just don't get, when is somebody going to ask some of these questions, you know, to the other side of this? Doesn't add up to me. Like, going after Crime Time Buzz, for example, what is she doing to hurt anyone? You know, what is she doing? I know for a fact that people are afraid. I know it. And one of the things that I do know myself is I know why, because I had a couple of the hate channels turn on me when I guess, I don't know, I wasn't fitting into whatever they wanted me to fit into. I just wonder, like, if this stuff is not the same people just pretending to be other people at this point. Because if you honestly you have no reason and you're just watching this case because you actually want to know what's going on with this missing teenager and stuff, you're not going to talk like that. It's just not sensical. And believe me, my son would tell me his honest opinion whether I liked it or not, right? So I have a very hard time, you know, understanding, like, what exactly do people have to gain? It doesn't add up to me. Like, it is strange. It is strange behavior. She sat there talking about grifting, for the first time breaking her silence, replying to somebody's comment named Ralph that was talking about Sebastian's birthday. That's what you break your silence about? That's what you say if you've had all this time to think and to go over it in your mind, what you might say about your missing grandson? And I say step-grandson because it is the step-grandchild, right? Like, that would not be something that I would like, I don't get it. It does not sit comfortably. But what I feel like I have seen the entire time, and especially from talking to people, is they just want everybody to stop talking about Sebastian. Because the comments don't even make sense. Like, the stuff that people have said to me, the comments that I've been getting, they don't even make sense.